Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with Merlin. Last time on Merlin, we had Valiant. A tournament was being held at Camelot to see, I guess, who the best knight is? I don't know, they just kind of had a tournament. And Arthur was the defending champion of the tournament, and there was one knight who was rising through the ranks called Knight Valiant, who, unbeknownst to pretty much everyone but Merlin, was using magic to bring the snakes on his shield to life to poison his opponent and win. And kill them as well. So, and he was going to do that on Arthur, and Merlin tried to tell Arthur, and they tried to tell the king, but they didn't have any proof, so Merlin had to do it on his own. He did end up saving the day, and, yeah, that's basically that. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode and previous episodes of Merlin that I've reacted to. And with that being said, let's get right into this episode of Merlin. Here we go. She looks familiar. Was she in Planet of the Dead? Yeah, that's definitely her. So what's happening? Oh, someone died.
Aren't you scared? Of what? That you might catch whatever it is.
In the court position, Merlin. This is part of my job.
Tuh.
Most of the time, there's nothing really to be scared of.
Ugh. It's pretty bad.
You were saying?
Tuh.
People mustn't see this.
What's in it?
It's smoked pigeon, but I'd say there's more smoke than pigeon.
You're such a good girl to me.
I'm on my way. Sorry I'm late.
Don't worry, I'm getting used to it.
Huh. Yeah, he still has another job.
Gwen. She gave it to me.
Tell Gaius my father wants to see him now.
Alright.
Guys,
I heard.
Yeah.
just tell you himself.
Oh, another. That's why Uther wanted to see him.
I don't know, sire. It's the second case I've seen today.
What are you concealing from me?
Sire, I have seen nothing like it. The victims are dying in 24 hours, and it's spreading fast.
What is the cause?
Well, we don't know.
I should say the cause, the most likely cause, is sorcery.
Alright. It's just a theory. A correct theory, but still.
Let's find who did this.
Over there. Sorry guys, we're searching every room in town.
What for?
The sorcerer.
Why would he be here?
I'm just doing my job.
Well, we've nothing to hide. Go on, then search.
The spellbook is the only thing.
Look what I found. I found a place where you can put things. It's called a cupboard.
Clean your room. Skirt it away. Or slow down time. Yeah, there you go. Subtle.
There will come a time when your skills will be recognized.
Yeah.
How long do I have to wait?
Patience is a virtue, Merlin.
Sitting
Yeah.
down and doing nothing, that's a virtue.
Your time will come.
Trust in science.
Sure, that man we saw. So what can we do?
Science.
Hope that science can find the answer before it kills us all.
Yeah. We're in this. Ah! Some creature in the water.
Let's isolate it, stop this disease from spreading.
What about the people who live there?
Don't you think I haven't considered it?
Yeah.
What else can I do?
The greater
I have
good.
to protect the rest of the city.
He has a point. Sort of a greater good move.
I doubt they breathe the same air.
So what's the only thing they do share?
Water.
Water. Water. You think
Yes.
diseases spread through water?
There you go.
You're a prodigy.
Science!
It's time to get up, Dad.
Uh-oh.
Dad?
No, they just introduced him. He was happy. He had a sandwich.
My place Yes, let's hope that this can provide some answers.
But that'll be too late for Gwen's father.
I fear you may be right.
Yeah, he's going to the book. See what he can do. Man, I don't know if this is the best plan. Whoa.
What's happening? I can't believe it.
He's still got the marks. Well, Merlin, you did something. Now, hope that doesn't backfire. Yeah, now it's awkward. So they're gonna... Well, they're searching her house now. It's under the pillow. Because he left a thing! A magical thing! He left a magic dumpling!
How else do you explain her father's recovery?
Well, she's innocent. I know she's innocent.
What can I do? I can't turn a blind eye.
Ah! It's true, though! I'm not gonna leave. But I'm mad!
Perhaps this is a disease that is not always fatal. You thought of that?
Yeah. You thought of that shit?
Thought of natural.
Yes.
But under this circumstance, I have no choice but to
Death.
sentence you to death.
No.
I can only hope that when you die, this evil plague dies with you.
No.
Take her away.
No.
Jesus Christ.
No.
I do have a sense of the kind of Camelot I would wish to live in. It would be where the punishment fits the crime.
That's true.
I fear you're right. She's played with fire, and sadly she must die by fire.
Jesus Christ. That didn't work. Fucking, can the show be about these two?
I thought I was doing good.
Well, you're a dumbass.
An easy solution is like a light in a storm, Merlin.
He is learning an important
Rush
lesson,
forward
though.
to Jopero for...
I place myself at your mercy.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I do.
Then arrest him.
Father, please, I can't allow this. This is madness. There's no way Merlin is a sorcerer.
Did you not hear it?
Yes.
He'd admitted it.
Tuh, good enough for
Saved
me.
my life, remember?
Why should he fabricate such a story?
He's in love
What?
with Gwen.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes, you're...
I'm not in love with her.
It's all right. You can admit it.
I don't even think of her like that.
Perhaps she cast a spell on you.
Alright. So he's not
Merlin
getting arrested?
is a wonder, but the wonder is that he's such an idiot.
Exactly!
There's no way.
Let's take it back and examine it.
Is it gonna come out? Ah! Jeez!
What the hell was that?
Right? Well, what? No!
Yeah. It was an avank.
Oh, talk to the dragon about it. He might know. That's pretty clever, actually.
Trust the elements that are at your command.
Elements. But what is it I have to do?
Fire?
You cannot do this alone.
Fire,
You are
water,
one
earth, air?
side of a coin. Arthur is the other.
I don't understand. Just
Oh.
tell me what it is I have to do.
He's so cryptic.
Please!
Well, the avank is a creature made from earth and water. That's two of the four base elements.
Yeah,
What about the other two?
fire and air.
Perhaps they will destroy it. You want fire, wind, and fire.
Okay.
So what are we to do?
We need to destroy it, then the plague will stop, and Uther may see sense.
And that's why you need Arthur.
He's our best chance.
Oh.
But he won't want to disobey the king.
Oh, you gotta go send him in to fight.
Leave that to me.
Poor Arthur. Gotta go be the knight.
You look around and all you see are small men, not big enough to fill their armor. There's not one of them that's able to stand up for what is right.
What do you want me to do?
Alright, good. Could've just asked. Ah, there it is! Arthur, you're up. Or you can just use the torch. I mean, I guess you need to use fire. Use the elements.
Arthur, use the for and high now.
Ooh! Oh! Brought in the wind!
It bears the mark of Nimueh.
Nimueh. What does that
You must be
mean?
vigilant, sire.
Will I never be rid of her?
Sire.
Huh.
Leave me!
Alright, so this isn't just our run-of-the-mill Freak of the Week.
I wanted you to know. Your secret's safe with me.
Oh, shit.
A secret?
She knows.
Don't pretend. You don't mind me talking to you about it?
We're talking about the same thing, right?
No, it's, you have no idea how hard it is to keep this hidden.
This is... They're
Well,
not talking
you
about the
can
same
continue
thing.
to deny it, but I think Gwen's a very lucky woman.
Gwen?
It's our secret.
I don't know, I think she's fucking with him.
Well, no one else seems to appreciate my skills. I just want someone to see me for who I am.
One day, Merlin. One
Yeah.
day.
Be patient.
One day what?
One day, people won't believe what an idiot you were.
Ha! Right.
Merlin, you will pay for this.
Tuh. Alrighty. Okay, that was interesting, wasn't it? So we kind of have overarching villain now. Well, good. That's good that we have that. Okay. Another interesting episode. I'm glad we kind of have an overarching villain now. Because, you know, which I don't know how often she's going to come back. But, yeah, I mean, it seems like the way they set that up. I mean, obviously, this is the first time where we're going to have a recurring villain, at least. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll still kind of go with our sort of Monster of the Week format that we've been doing for the past couple episodes. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we have to build up now to her as the main villain, at least of the season. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. I like that. Hold up. Need a drink. Okay. So let's go ahead and go over the notes. Has that always been there? There's a mark on my sword. A little black mark. Oh well. Okay. Alright. So the first thing I wrote down was the plague. That was interesting. It made things a bit more dire than normal because, you know, with the first one it was dire, but at the same time, that witch was only trying to kill Arthur, and it was pretty fast. You know, it wasn't this thing that everyone was aware was happening. And then in last episode, we had more people that were aware of Night Valiant, but it wasn't everyone, and it was really, again, only affecting Arthur. Whereas now we sort of have it to where this was a like citywide emergency, basically. So that's interesting, and everyone knew. Oh, excuse me, Jesus! I didn't think I'd be that big. And everyone knew this was magic. So I like that. We basically upped the stakes a bit on this one. So yeah. And then that coming from the water was also interesting. So, you know, it kind of kept to the lower town for a while. And then eventually was starting to seep into, I guess, the upper town, which was definitely interesting. I wrote down Arthur doing the search. That was kind of interesting. You know, he had to go around all of Camelot, and he even said, like, they started to work on searching the villages, which was interesting. And, we had him, having to search Gaius's residence, basically, and even go through Merlin's room. That was kind of interesting, and we had to have Merlin, hide the spell book, because that would be proof that he was a sorcerer, which you can't do. So yeah, I wrote down Uther / Lower Town. It's interesting the way you watch Uther throughout this episode, because everything he is doing to protect his people, even at the worst things he could do. Locking up Gwen, sentencing her to die and stuff like that. All of this stuff that he had to do, and some of it was pretty horrible, but he had to do it for the good of his kingdom. So I like that little dynamic, because you could easily kind of paint him as, well, he's kind of the bad guy here, or a bad guy here, locking up Gwen when it's not Gwen, but he has perfectly good reason, which makes it all the more compelling. So yeah, and cutting off Lower Town so that the disease doesn't spread. That was interesting. I wrote down science versus magic. That was an interesting sort of debate we had going. Which should we trust in? Should we trust in Merlin and his magic, or should we trust in Gaius and his science? The problem is that science would take too long, more people would die, including Gwen's father, and then later, when they're trying to find answers on the Avenac, Avenac, then it's like, well, we can't take too long because otherwise Gwen will be executed. So that was also interesting, that little debate there. And for the most part, I will say, it was science that sort of prevailed, even though, Merlin did save the day at the end, and with his magic and stuff. Magic really caused many of the problems throughout this episode. That and, Merlin's fucking, such a dumbass. It's weird, because in the first episode, I was like, this guy's kind of a dumbass. And then in the next episode, it's like, I just didn't even think about it. And then in this episode, it's like, well, he's back to being a dumbass again. But you can still understand where he's coming from. He's so inexperienced with his powers, and he's still learning the responsibilities and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, come on, you made this worse. It's like, yes, you saved her father, but then you endangered her. Oh my gosh. So, which is also interesting, having that little thing with Gwen and her father, kind of raising the stakes by making it, okay, this is someone related to, one of my, pretty much like my only friend, and then swapping it to where it's like, well, no, now he's been cured, he's fine, but now Gwen is, gonna be executed. So, yeah, and that's so, it's so infuriating. It's so infuriating to watch Merlin just completely and utterly blow it, and, almost getting Gwen executed. So, yeah. It was interesting, but it was one of those just, ooh, this character, I get it, it's episode 3, it's episode 3, he's a young, inexperienced warlock, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man. Oh. So, yeah, hopefully this means he'll get better, though. I hope he does get better, and friggin', I don't know, I want him to get better. Arthur's already getting better. So, oh boy. The next thing I wrote down was the confession. That was kind of weird. That, Merlin goes in to confess, which, again, is stupid and doesn't help anything. And then, Arthur saves his ass, basically, by saying, like, oh, well, clearly he's in love with Gwen, and he wants to save her. And then all of them just kind of start laughing. Even Uther starts laughing, and it's just like, this is weird. This is, like, tonally weird and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was a bit of a weird scene. Like, okay, I understand, okay, that was a good way of sort of writing it off, like, oh, he's in love and stuff like that. But I think most of it comes from Uther, who throughout this whole episode has been so intense, and then he's suddenly like, don't waste my time again. Let him go. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. If he was like still serious throughout this, he was like, oh, so you're in love. I understand. Well, go. Don't waste my time again. Like, if he was still serious throughout that scene, that would have worked. But yeah, that was just a weird, like, tone shift in that scene. So yeah, that was odd. I wrote down the Avanak. Interesting little monster we had there. It was nice. It sort of got away from the whole, we had the witch, and then we had Knight Valiant, who is, the dude with the magic shield. It's like, okay, now we have a monster. That was interesting. And then I wrote down the elements and Arthur. So that made a lot of sense that it did actually make sense that they basically got Arthur to face the beast. Instead of having Merlin go down and face it with his powers, they basically got Arthur because, yeah, it's like the dragon says, it's like Merlin is not supposed to be the big hero. He's supposed to be the support of the big hero, which is Arthur. So, the dragon says, like, okay, you're two sides of the same coin, basically. So that's the thing, is that you need Arthur to go do this heroic stuff, and you need Merlin there to help him. So that's pretty good, because, if you paint Merlin as just the hero, and, he's doing all this stuff and saving everyone, which he still kind of is, but if you have all of this, if you have him do all this, it's like, well, then what the hell do we have Arthur for? So I like that he's supporting Arthur while Arthur goes and fights. I do like that. Although I don't know, I kind of want to see a wizard battle, And more than fucking Harry Potter. More than in Harry Potter. Can I go on a slight tangent? Because I have never seen a good wizard battle on film. Granted, I haven't seen a lot of wizard films, but I don't know. All I remember from, like, Harry Potter versus Dumbledore, Jesus, Voldemort. What the hell am I saying? That would be interesting though if that happened. But when he was fighting Voldemort, all I remember is them just, doing like energy blasts, doing a beam struggle with their wands. Like, who fucking cares? Like, I want to see something interesting. So hopefully the show does an actual wizard fight, even though, yes, they do need to keep Arthur as the fighter, basically. And then, saying that, okay, well, this creature, the Avanak, was born of clay, which means it's earth and water. So how do you defeat it? Well, with the other two elements, air and fire. So yeah, and so, Arthur's trying to use the torch to kill him, and then Merlin brings in this, gust of wind to spread the fire and engulf the Avanak. So that was definitely interesting. I wrote down Nimueh. So, yeah, Nimueh, who seems to be, from what I can tell, is the sorcerer that plagued Camelot 20 years ago, which Uther defeated and then, banned all magic, basically. So that's interesting that she's actually coming back now, and she's going to be sort of, I guess, the villain of the season, at least. Maybe the whole show, but I would wager to guess the season. So yeah, so I can only assume that she's going to come back, and we're going to get more, probably see some more backstory with Uther, and what actually happened back then. I wrote down Morgana and Merlin. That scene, I don't know. It's like, on the one hand, it's like, okay, finally, someone else that knows of Merlin's powers, and, okay, it's Morgana. That's interesting. They really haven't had almost any screen time together. And it's like, oh, your secret is safe with me. I know how you're in love with Gwen. And then she kind of walks off, and he's like, oh, not what I thought we were talking about. I do kind of wonder if she's fucking with him, basically. Like, is she kind of screwing with him, and she actually does know. This is the same thing I talked about with Lena Luthor on Supergirl. I was like, I bet Lena Luthor actually knows that Kara is Supergirl, but just hasn't said anything. Which did not end up being the case in Supergirl, so I'm going to guess that it's not going to end up being the case here in Merlin. But that would actually be cool if she was actually kind of screwing with him and does actually know of his powers. But especially with that conversation at the end with Gaius, probably not. So, dang it. Fucking Arthur. Why can't Arthur freaking just go for her? She's so fucking pretty. Although, with Uther being her guardian, it's like they almost have a sibling dynamic going on. It's like they're kind of getting on each other's nerves and stuff like that. And it's like, so maybe that's why Arthur hasn't really considered her yet. He should. She's fucking gorgeous. So. And the last thing I wrote down was the one day. One day he will be recognized, which is pretty much what we're building up to. So, oh god. So I don't know if that's going to be at the end of the season or the end of the show. I have no idea, but one day he will be recognized by more than just Gaius, really. Even Gaius is just like, yes, you have powers, but you're a dumbass. So yeah. That's pretty much all I wrote down. Another good episode, I have to say, another good one. And I'm excited to see where we're going, especially now that we have a recurring villain. So, yeah, that is pretty much that. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Merlin reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.